A wonderful story, wonderfully told. Friends, we move from Advent to Christmas, a promise delivered. So here is a poem we'd like to share from all the way back in 1965 by David Redding called Adult Advent Announcement.
O Lord, let Advent begin again in us, not merely in commercials. For that first Christmas was not simply for children, but for the wise and the strong. It was crowded around that cradle with kings kneeling. Speak to us, who seek an adult seat this year. Help us to realize, as we fill stockings, Christmas is mainly for the old folks. Bent backs and tired eyes need relief and light a little more. No wonder it was grown-ups who were the first to notice such a star.
But friends, haven't we all felt a little old this year? Haven't we all struggled a bit and felt bent and blinded, needing light from such a star? Well, we can say on this night, this Christmas Eve, that we see the light is here. We see it in this fire. We see it in the candles that we've lit, the candles you've lit at home, in a Bethlehem star high upon a majestic redwood which we will light. And it is in you. It is in your eyes. For the star is a symbol, this light is a symbol of incarnation, the divine meeting the human, the sacred kissing the mundane, the beyond bowing to the beloved, the spirit hidden in the material. It is a holy night. I've always liked the English musician Steve Winwood. He was singing with blues-based rock bands when he was 15 years old. And he's one of those musicians who is incredibly talented, is artful, and also happened to be commercially successful. It was in 1986 that he recorded a song called Higher Love. And this is how it went.
Think about it. There must be higher love. Down in the heart and hidden in the stars above. Without it, life is wasted time. Look inside your heart, and I'll look inside mine. Things look so bad everywhere. In this whole world, what is fair? We walk blind and try to see, falling behind in what could be. Bring me a higher love. Worlds are turning, and we're just hanging on. Facing our fear, standing out there alone. Oh, a yearning, and it's real for me. There must be someone who's feeling for me. Bring me a higher love.
So indeed, these lyrics are like a prayer, an intercessory yearning. How do we welcome such a love? I want to tell a story that answers that question. From the great legendary preacher, Reverend Howard Thurman, whose 1949 book, Jesus and the Disinherited, we are reading as part of the Sacred Ground series on race and class and love, and who, by the way, created think about this, integrated church in San Francisco in 1944, co-pastoring with a white minister. He shares this story in Jesus and the Disinherited when talking about the essence of Jesus and facing fear, including the very real fear of racist violence, still real, unfortunately, 80 years later. He wrote, "When I was a very small boy, Halley's Comet visited our solar system. For a long time, I didn't see the giant in the sky because I was not permitted to remain up after sundown. My chums had seen it and had told me perfectly amazing things about it. Also, I had heard of what were called comet pills. The theory was that if the pills were taken according to directions, then when the tail of the comet struck the Earth, one would not be consumed. One night I was awakened by my mother, who told me to dress quickly and come with her out into the backyard to see the comet. I shall never forget it if I live forever. My mother stood with me, her hand resting on my shoulder, while I, in utter speechless awe, beheld the great spectacle with its fan of light spreading across the heavens. The silence was like that of absolute motion. Finally, after what seemed to me an interminable time interval, I found my speech. With bated breath, I said to my mother, "What will happen to us if that comet falls out of the sky?" My mother's silence was so long that I looked from the comet to her face, and there I beheld something in her countenance that I had seen only once before, when I came into her room and found her in prayer. When she spoke, she said, "Nothing will happen to us, Howard. God will take care of us." He continues, "O simple-hearted mother of mine, in one glorious moment you put your heart on the ultimate affirmation of the human spirit. Many things have I seen since that night. Times without number I have learned that life is hard as crucible steel, but as the years have unfolded, the majestic power of my mother's love and glowing words has come back again and again, beating out its rhythmic chant in my own spirit. Here are the faith and the awareness that overcome fear and transform it into the power to strive, to achieve, and not to yield. And so, friends, a higher love brings us to higher truth. Thurman also remembered his grandmother telling him stories about slave ministers preaching to his fellow slaves. And she echoed those words. She cried out, "You are not slaves. You are God's children. You are God's children." And that proclamation, that belief led to this precious sense of personal dignity, of personal worth. We are loved by a merciful God. And so this night we remember that Jesus was born in an animal stable, not rich, not privileged. He came into this world powerless, and yet came to know love and its power, came to embody its power, the power to persevere, to be true, to change, the power to hope, the power to sacrifice. This is the result of a higher love coming down on Christmas and changing us. This holy love changes everything. So come on, people. Let us get back on this train, this love, after this challenging year. And in the spirit of the incarnate love of Christ, let's listen to each other. Let's learn from each other. Let's love even stronger and even better. And so let us end this night with one more poem from the poets among us. This one called "Touched by an Angel" from Maya Angelou.
We, unaccustomed to courage, exiles from delight, live coiled in shells of loneliness until love leaves its high, holy temple and comes into our sight to liberate us into life. Love arrives, and in its train come ecstasies, old memories of pleasure, ancient histories of pain. Yet, if we are bold, love strikes away the chains of fear from our souls. We are weaned from our timidity in the flush of love's light. We dare be brave, and suddenly we see that love costs all we are and will ever be. Yet, It is only love which sets us free.
So this night, friends, we celebrate that love that sets us all free, that strikes away fear, that weans us from timidity. May we support each other and compassionately hold ourselves accountable to live out this Christmas love. Can I hear an amen?
Amen.
Merry Christmas. Amen.